And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sportsport. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sportsport here on a thirsty Thursday, round one NFL draft. Barnes and Michael once again. How you doing, sir?
Dude, I'm doing great. Looking forward to a Knicks loss tonight. Sorry, Knicks fans, even though I am one, but they're not getting it done.
But you wouldn't even for Josh B. You wouldn't want to see it.
For Josh B, I would. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we know he's pulling for him.
But I want big moves made. So championship moves made. I've heard, dude. I mean,
that's
like years after I wanted it, but I'd take him.
But do you think he would actually stop eating or no?
Yes, for Thibs.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, obviously, there's been a lot of Giannis conversation as well. So, be interesting.
I would want Giannis.
But I definitely was surprised. Really, I mean, both games, because they really struggled the first game, and then you had that late run. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. But definitely, an exciting day here. And it's nice. We won't even say the word, but we don't have to talk about the 4-letter word that only, Tony and this fake fan, I think Layson Libertelli or something.
Yeah, Layson Libertelli.
Something like that. But yeah, like I said, we won't even need to get into that, which is definitely a treat here. But speaking of Josh B, I believe he's batting leadoff.
Yeah, he said, "Yo, what up, fam? Josh, what's up, brother, man?"
Josh B.
We have Derpy saying, "Let's go. It's draft day." And Mary Materiello saying, "Good morning." Good morning.
Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Mary. Mary had a little lamb. Josh B saying, "Come on, Michael." And then he says, "The Knicks playoffs is greater than the NFL draft."
I mean, Josh, I did basically get him to recant. I mean, he said, for you only. So, hopefully that's good juju. I think it'll be interesting, and
it's just tough. They shouldn't have lost that second game, but
whatever. Yeah. I have to say, I was surprised at that.
Detroit's first playoff game. It's going to be
16
rocking there
in 16 years or no,
something like that.
I know the win was the first time in 16 years, but it's definitely.
I was in a Josh has been doing these live streams on X.
Oh, the Spaces.
Yeah, the Spaces, and they were. It was like. I don't know when it was, Saturday maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot. Forgive me to them who they are, but they were talking about Detroit, and it was when actually Detroit won that game. I can't remember.
Well, it was Saturday. No, they lost. So that was game one.
So we were just chatting it up, and then he was like, "When's the last time the Pistons were in the playoffs with Rodney Stuckey?" I was like, dude, wow, what a name drop.
Yeah, no, it's crazy how that all fell apart, so quickly, because they had such a run. I think it was 8 consecutive.
Yeah, it was
Eastern Conference Finals.
I mean, dude, add Melo to that instead of Darko, and you're having 3 championships.
Yeah, and I mean, just how Melo would be looked at differently, and maybe he never makes his way to the Knicks. It's really, really tough to say. So, kind of changed the course of history. But a bunch to get to. But I just want to give a quick update here for Yerny. Just kidding. I know he's not a big golf guy, but we do have the Zurich Classic underway from TPC Louisiana in Avondale. And this is the only team event on tour. And right now we got 4 groups, tied at 2 under, very early on here. But Blair and Fishburne, Hadley and Bird, Smalley and Bramlett, Ramey and Lauer, Strebe and Merritt. And Strebe and Merritt actually 1 under, but the first 4 all tied at 2 under here early on. JT Poston and Keith Mitchell also 1 under. You have the Hogard brothers at 1 under par as well. And then John Pollock's pick, Matthew Pavone and Victor Perez actually bogeyed number 1, and they're starting on the back 9. Lowry and McIlroy looks like they're playing the first hole now. They're obviously the defending champs, so be interesting to see what they do. Looks like just like it is here, a beautiful day, in New Orleans. So we'll definitely keep you posted on that. Josh also talking about the spaces, says the usuals, Alan, Tommy, me, and Kev. Definitely classic for sure. And we mentioned the NFL draft, and it's definitely going to be an interesting one. I believe, first round is going to get underway around 8 o'clock. All the different coverages between ESPN, ABC, NFL Network. Just looking at, the draft, kind of interesting because we're so used to, especially last year, I believe it was 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round. A little different feel this year, not as deep of as a class. And then speaking of different feel, I'm interested to see what the setup will look like. The first time in NFL history, we are going to get a draft in Green Bay. So that's interesting. Really enjoyed going to Green Bay. It'll be interesting to see what the setup is there, but I'm sure they're going to do a fabulous job. So just looking at a pro football talk, I guess this is their only mock they're putting out. And kind of what you've seen, especially amongst the top 3 picks of the draft here, Ward going to the Titans. Obviously they've been searching for a quarterback for a while. I guess Tannehill kind of gave him a glimmer of hope a few years ago, but then Levis was a disaster after that. And they really haven't recovered. So that makes sense there. And then it's interesting, the Browns, bringing back Joe Flacco, obviously Watson. I mean, he might never play for the teams again. Biggest bust in franchise history, but they're not going with Shador, at least at number 2, going with Travis Hunter. They're hoping that he could help them out at wide receiver and cornerback. So I think that's a good pick for them. The Giants, it's interesting, speaking of teams that, need quarterbacks, this mock draft has them going with Abdul Carter, the edge rusher out of Penn State. And obviously you think about the Giants, their recent championships. Other than Eli, what do you think about? You think about the pass rush, so you understand that. But I am very interested to see, if they're going to take a quarterback even at the end of this first round. They got several second round picks. So, I think it would make sense because that Jameis and Russell Wilson, aren't the long-term answers there. They have the Patriots taking Will Campbell, the offensive tackle out of LSU, and they were talking about in Rick and Dave this morning. This draft looks like, what do you got, 3 in the top 10, but that even possibly more tackles or offensive linemen could be taken early in the draft. Mason Graham going 5 to Jacksonville, the defensive tackle from Michigan. Kelvin Banks, the offensive tackle from Texas, going to the Raiders. Kev's Raiders. And then something that I talked about, the Jets at 7 going with Tyler Warren. I really hope that's the pick. And again, on Rick and Dave this morning, they were talking about how there's a lot of rumors. Oh, they're leaning defense, but then they had, I think it was, Connor. I don't know if it was Connor Hughes or somebody to that effect and saying he thinks that's like a smoke screen. And I just think, listen, I know 7 is somewhat high for a tight end, but, I talked about this yesterday, when you haven't had one in 30 years and you missed out, on Brock Bowers last year, I think it just makes a lot of sense to do that. So I hope they do that. And then, the Panthers at 8 going with Jalen Walker, the linebacker out of Georgia. The Saints going offensive tackle at 9. Armand Membu, and, Zach, big Saints fan, was here yesterday. And he was, saying he hopes they go quarterback. But, obviously they need to build the offensive line as well. And then possibly to, Jerry Jones's disappointment, they have the Bears at 10 going with Ashton Genty. I think that's interesting. Give another weapon to Caleb Williams. Obviously, they're stacked at wide receiver. So I like that move. And then 11, Shamir Stewart, edge rusher, Texas A&M. And then speaking of the Cowboys, 12 going with the wide receiver, Matthew Golden from Texas. But, kind of interesting. Obviously, Hunter at 2, wide receiver corner. But he's the only one they have mocked in the top 10. So, in previous years, I feel like we've seen a lot of receivers kind of move up the board. But you got 1 in the top 10, 2 in the top 12, and then, 3 in the top 16. So not a ton. And you also have a second, first round running back potentially, Omarion Hampton from North Carolina. They have going to the Broncos at 20. But I think the biggest thing for me is going to be, if teams, move back into the first round, not only to take Shador, but to take, Jackson Dark, or I think it's Tyler. Just actually, I want to look this up. The Louisville quarterback. I just want to actually look that up real quick. But, he's a guy I know that they've mentioned possibly. I think Tyler Show, is it? Moving back into the first round for it, because you get, that extra. Yes, it is Tyler Show. But you get that extra year, the 5th year option. So that makes a lot of sense. But it's interesting. This draft has Shador, going to the Rams at 26. And it's interesting. The Rams, obviously, they ended up working out the deal with Matthew Stafford. So that would be interesting, because he would have to sit a couple years. And I've seen a lot of mocks having the Browns jumping back into the first round to take Shador. I think that would make more sense, just because, how it is. I mean, you think about, and I know it's a different situation, obviously Stafford more accomplished, but like with Cousins and Penix, it just creates an awkward situation. So that's one, I don't necessarily agree with. And I don't necessarily agree with also the fact that this doesn't have Jackson Dart, in the first round. I mean, I think somebody will take him. We'll see. But those are, kind of the interesting points that stood out to me, on this mock draft from Pro Football Talk. Obviously, so much can change between now and the start of the draft tonight at 8:00. So you really never know what'll happen. I'm sure we'll be, in for a few surprises or two. But we'll see. And like I said, I just am really hoping that the Jets go with Jaylen Warren, and maybe two, in the second round, second or third round, maybe take a quarterback. I mean, I know they have a lot of needs, and Dave was harping this morning on DNR that they need some more wide receivers, because right now, I mean, what are you going to have, Corley or Alan Lazard as your number 2? So I think that makes sense. But Warren obviously fills a big need at tight end. I did see, though, we have a couple other comments here. Ernie in the building says, got me for 40 minutes before I have my first big contract signing, hopefully. LOL, so that's exciting, Ernie. Hope it goes well for you. And I think once Michael gets back in here, we'll get the grid going while we have you here. John Pollock going eyeballs call. So I'm sure he's riled, not only for the NFL draft, but for that Pistons and Knicks game later tonight in Motown. So we'll definitely talk about that with, Michael. And speaking of Michaels, Michael Butka saying, "Hey, Brian," which is interesting. Usually, he calls me Barnes. So kind of funny that he goes with the Brian call. And then he says, massive Lakers game tomorrow. And it definitely is, a massive Lakers game. Because, they come back after, really getting embarrassed, the first game against Minnesota. And then, winning that defensive battle yesterday, or not yesterday, but the day before. So, I think it's really, I know it's not necessarily a must win, but it's just, you want to avoid trouble. I mean, you win game 3. I mean, I think it's that simple. So, a lot of interesting stuff going on here. I just want to see too if we have any other kind of draft rumbling surprises, and if anybody has any kind of bold predictions on what they're thinking in terms of the draft or their team. Just definitely let us know. Just interested to see kind of what everybody, has in mind. And I know I'm sure we have a lot of, Giants, Jets fans in the building. What do you think about, those mock selections, Warren, the tight end? It seems like that's a popular, not only me, but, just fellow Jets fans. It seems like that is a popular selection of Warren there at 7. So, and I believe Josh B's on board with that as well. And then for the Giants going with Carter, I think the thing is, it's just, they're not in love with Shador or Dart. So that's why they don't want to take him at 3. So that's why, you go with the mindset of, the best player available. So, I mean, I would think, that makes sense. And then there's also, some rumblings that, they, might trade Thibodeau tonight. So that's interesting. I mean, I still think, I know he has a poor attitude and definitely has been inconsistent, but I still think he's a good player. Maybe he just needs a change of scenery. I personally, I know they're pretty deep at pass rusher, but I wouldn't mind. I mean, if it wasn't going to cost much, if the Jets picked him up, to be honest. I think he still has a lot of talent. And then you think about, basically a drill sergeant in Aaron Glenn, it doesn't seem like he's messing around. I think he could get the best out of him. So going to be interesting to see, what happens. And I was just looking for other news here. We mentioned, the Pro Football Talk draft mock going with, Shador to the Rams, and Daniel Jeremiah looks like he's thinking the Steelers, possibly could be in play for him as well. That's an interesting situation. And then I also see on here Michael Bukta saying, I want to go up 3-1 by the end of Sunday. I mean, yeah, Michael. I mean, that's what you want to do. I thought going in, I mean, this was a 5 or 6 game series. I really didn't think, the Lakers would struggle, especially lose that game 1. So you have to hope that they, build on that performance, from the other day. So it's going to be interesting tomorrow. And then Michael Butka also says, ain't that right, Ernie? And then also Jay using the forbidden word today. Me and Michael talked about it. No mention of the 4-letter word, so unfortunately we can't read that comment. And then Michael Bucket says, I'm getting greedy. I want both wins in Minnesota. And then Jaybird says, I hope the Jets pick Tyler Warren as well. Bukta, what's your favorite LeBron song? And I guess his favorite song is Lakers by 7 tomorrow. Jimmy Butler out. And then I appreciate it. Jay say Barnes also looking fit. So, trying my best here, always tough in the summer, more golf, less gym, the drinking. Jay knows all about that, but we do our best. I know technically it's not the summer yet, but boy, does it feel like it. The weather's been great. And then and Michael Bucka says, Jaybird, you can't call me Bukta. I don't know you well. So that's kind of funny. And then he says they got Luka, Donnie Reeves, then LeBron. Is Tony there today? I don't hear or see him. And I would think Michael Butka, the regular listener, that he is, would know this. I mean, Thursday, other than last week, the exception, Tony going home for Easter, the classic editing day. So that is typically the Barnes and Michael edition of the show. So we don't usually see Tony here on Thursdays, but we know he's listening somewhere. I'll say while Michael's still outside, we can still talk about baseball. We don't need the introduction video. I'll just jump right into it. But thank God the Yankees yesterday able to bounce back, defeating the Cleveland Guardians 5-1. And the thing that stood out from this game, other than the obvious, Aaron Judge, is the best player in the game, going 2 for 4 with the triple yesterday. Average up to 415. This late in the season, hitting 415 is absolutely unbelievable. But Carlos Rodon, second straight, dominant start. No earned runs, the only run on an error, but 7 strong 4 hits, 8 strikeouts, 2 walks. So it really seems like he's honing in. Obviously the previous start in Tampa, he was locked in. And to see this again, I mean, this is amazing. This is what we need. There had been so much talk about, when Fried goes out there, you know what you're going to get. Everyone else is a complete wild card. And even me, I was harping on Rodon. I mean, I just didn't like the way he had looked. I think it was 3 or 4 starts in a row after a good performance on opening day. But this is the Rodon we need. And you hope that, this builds his confidence, winning a road start. And it's interesting, too. I think, not that there were really that many, even though I was listening to most of the game, so kind of relying on Dave Sims and Susan Waldman as I was in the car afternoon game. But didn't seem like there were too many deep fly balls. But I almost think, he's a better road pitcher because, just the Yankee Stadium, the corners, him making a mistake. I mean, it usually leaves the building, and especially as the weather gets warmer. I think it plays, to his advantage, pitching on the road. So he was tremendous yesterday, really set the tone. And it was nice too, despite a day. Let's be real here, where there was a lot of runners left on base. The Yankees backed him up on offense, scoring 5 runs, and 2 in the first. So it's always good before your starting pitcher gets out there. You give him a couple runs to work with, kind of let him settle in. But going kind of by the play-by-play here. First inning, Ben Rice, a 7-pitch at bat, working a walk. So good to have Ben Rice back in the starting lineup here. But Aaron Judge narrowly missing a home run. I think they said it would have been a home run. It was to deep center. In 28 ballparks, just Chase Field, it wouldn't have been out in. So it just misses a home run, gets a triple. So that scores Rice. So you're up 1-0. And then Cody Bellinger walks. So it's good to see. And I think we saw this out of Jazz. I believe he walked twice yesterday, but guys struggling like Bellinger and Jazz. Listen, if you're not going to hit the ball, be patient at the plate, work a walk. We'll take that rather than a strikeout. But Paul Goldschmidt, who has been unbelievable, I believe he's second in the majors in average at this point, a double to center, scoring Aaron Judge, made it 2-0. But then unfortunately, 3 guys who, have been struggling mightily, Jazz, Volpe, and Austin Wells, all striking out in a row. So not what you want to see. So that ended the inning. The theme of the day, runners left on base. Luckily, they were able to plate enough runs and get good pitching where that didn't come back to bite. Bottom of the first, the only run of the game for Cleveland scored here. And this was after, Stephen Kwan flew out. You had an Arias double. And then you had Jose Ramirez single to center. But scoring Arias on a fielding error, that's right, was unearned for Carlos Rodon. So that made it 2-1. Carlos Santana popping out to second, and then Wilson grounding out. So getting out of the inning with a 2-1 lead. Luis Ortiz really labored, a lot of walks. And speaking of walks, he leads walks Dominguez to lead off the second inning, and Dominguez still second. So good to see Jason, showing some patience there, and then stealing bases. I mentioned I wanted to see him get 20 steals this year. Oswaldo Cabrera popped out to short, so that made it 1 out. But then Ben Rice, with his single, scored Jason Dominguez, so that made it 3-1. Aaron Judge with another hit, moving up Rice to second. And then Bellinger flies out to make it 2 outs, but moving Rice to third. And then Paul Goldschmidt again. They've been calling him Paulie singles, singles to left, scoring Rice. So 4-1 Yankees. Jazz walks, but then Volpe strikes out swing. And a lot of talk about Volpe. And I was listening to Keith McPherson on The Fan last night. He just really has been struggling. And he was just saying he doesn't think, other than maybe dropping in the order, there's anything that the Yankees are going to do there, that they're locked in. But it's hard for him not to think about, George Lombard Jr., who is absolutely raking in the minors, obviously still in single A right now. But if at this rate, you would imagine he's going to move up. So that was the end of the top of the second. You had Martinez reaching on a bunt single, but then Rodon striking out Noel, walking Hedges, but striking out Rocchio, and then inducing a Quan fly-out, so getting out of the inning unscathed. Top third, Yankees go 1-2-3, 2 groundouts and a flyout. Bottom third, other than a walk, Rodon retiring the side, including a Wilson strikeout. And Rodon, really the control, I felt like, good tempo on the mound and just really getting good location on his off-speed pitch, that slider low and in. Cleveland just didn't have a chance yesterday. Nothing across in the fourth for the Yankees. Judge walks, but then you had 3 strikeouts, unfortunately. And then bottom 4, Rodon striking out the side, pumped up. So you love to see that. And then Ortiz makes it out for the 5th, strikes out Volpe again. His average, I think, is 198 now, which is just crazy. And then they go with Cantillo to come in, the left-hander. He gets Wells to strike out. So, a theme here again. Those guys just got to pick it up. Jason Dominguez doubles, so you love to see that. But then Oswaldo Cabrera strikes out the end of the inning. Moving to the bottom of the 5th, Rodon gets Rocchio to strike out, gives up a single to Quan, and then Arias and Ramirez ground out. 6th inning, Yankees, get a walk, a single, Goldschmidt double, but Cody Bellinger thrown out at home. Tough. You wanted to add another run there. But obviously the thing, it's unbelievable. Paul Goldschmidt, another 3-hit game. Really just unbelievable. Concerns coming the year, turning 38 this year, slow start last year, but he has picked up where he left off and exceeded those expectations from what he did in the second half last year. Rodon, 6th inning. On to the 7th, Jazz working a walk, stealing second. So even though he's not hitting the ball, working walks, stealing bases, that's what we need him to do. But then Volpe strikes out for the 3rd time, which really, just embarrassing, unfortunately, because I've always liked Anthony Volpe, but it's really time to step up. Austin Wells, who's been struggling, luckily doubles, scores Jazz, makes it 5-1. Dominguez, another hit, so you love to see that. Cabrera walks, but then Rice a grounding into a fielder's choice. Austin Wells getting thrown out at home, and then Aaron Judge strikes out the end of the inning. Rodon 7th, so that's what we see. 7 scoreless innings there. Yankees, get a single from Jazz, but then strike out and line out and ground out, and the inning there. 8th inning, Fernando Cruz, had gotten some rest, so he looked sharp. 2 strikeouts and a ground out there. And then 9th inning, Yankees go down in order. Luke Weaver, this was interesting, and I was listening to this on the radio, like I said, so I didn't see this, but it really seemed like for the first time this season, Luke Weaver did not have his good stuff. 3 hard outs, also gave up a single to Wilson. In the last play, Shenman took Cody Bellinger to the wall, diving catch to end the game, but the Yankees, salvaged the last game of this series in Cleveland and win 5-1. So 15-10. A well-timed bite by Renee.
Hello, Brian.
What is up? I know Michael Buck will be riled that you're producing because he always loves that.
Yes, hello.
But so 97 win pace, off day today, so kind of reset. And then get ready for a quick homestand. Only a 3-game set. I'll be at the game Saturday with Matt, so looking forward to that. First divisional or second divisional series of the season, but first one at home. So yeah, looking forward to that. And listen, like I said, 97 win pace. You'll take it. Obviously, some things to clean up. You love what Ben Rice is doing. You love, of course, what Aaron Judge is doing. Paul Goldschmidt, 383. That's unbelievable. Almost doesn't seem real. Good to see Dominguez have 2 hits yesterday, but obviously you're looking at the rest of the lineup. You just need Bellinger, Jazz, Volpe, and Wells all to be better. I know that's a lot of players, and I expect them all to be better, but they're all hitting under 200, and, it's just you can't have that. And I think that is going to be the key to the Yankees, taking the next step here. And, it really makes them have, I think, the best offense in the league with those guys going. So you hope they can make some adjustments here. Because this is a game you won 5-1. You could have won easily 10-1. You had 11 hits, but, you had 5 for 18 with runners in scoring position. Not terrible, but the thing that's terrible is 13 left on base and 14 strikeouts. You just can't do it. Volpe with the golden sombrero, 4 strikeouts, and then Goldschmidt gets a pass for striking out twice, but Jazz strikes out twice. I mean, everybody in the lineup struck out other than Cody Bellinger. So you want to keep, cut down on those strikeouts, put the ball in play, give yourself a chance. While I was going over this Yankee summary, I believe there are some comments, Renee.
Yes,
if you want to start with the Michael Butka in between Jaybird's comments up top. Talking about but not well, Jaybird.
There's a lot going on here. All right, so is this in reference? I want to go up 3-1 by the end of Sunday.
No. So it's Michael Bucket saying, yeah, but not well, Jaybird. After Jay says, you know me.
Yeah, but not. Oh, okay. So we got Jaybird talking about LeBron. No, he was talking to Michael Buckta. Josh B, you're talking about after that comment?
Hey, just go to Josh B. That's fine. Yeah, Josh B there. Giving you a shout out, Renee. How about that?
Yes, hey. Sorry, I feel like I haven't had one sip of coffee yet.
Is that your coffee or no? Or that's your coffee on the table?
It may be. Mine may be on my desk over there. So a little decaffeinated, but it's okay. I can still roll.
Yeah.
Also, like 100 degrees in here. Like,
yes.
What the heck?
Yes, Tony.
He would die.
Oh yeah.
This seat would be like fully through with sweat.
Luckily, I'm feeling a little breeze from this fan that might kill us one day up top. So at least that's nice.
All right. Then we got Ernesto saying, love the shirt, Barnes.
Let's go, Ernie.
And the hat, Josh B says.
Oh, legendary hat by Josh B. And I'm just proud that I got the OG version. And I know many have followed suit, but one of my favorite hats for sure.
Yeah, it's an awesome hat. Ernesto says, together they are averaging 402.
In reference to Aaron Judge and Paul Goldschmidt. Unbelievable. So they're really carrying us right now.
He also says Volpe needs to wake the fuck up.
Yeah, I mean, it's embarrassing. I'm expecting him to turn it around, but it's just one of those things like, luckily it's April, luckily there's time, but it's like the time is now. So you just hope, off day, he gets things together, and he's really been struggling hitting fastballs. And it just like, you're in the major leagues, you got to be able to hit fastballs. You got to make that adjustment. They were talking about, his body before his swing, kind of his legs going first. They were talking about that, John Flaherty on the broadcast the other day. So hopefully he turns that around.
Josh B also says, Barnes, the Tatis guy said Churro is available now too. Ha ha ha!
Yeah, we were talking about some fancy baseball trades, and I know, Renee, that's not your forte, but I've always said, I don't really do many trades for fantasy baseball because everyone's a rat. Everyone tries to pull the wool over your eyes, and especially when you're dealing with me, Josh B, and also his prospect guru, it's just not going to happen. So, you want to offer something serious, we're all for it. But if you're not going to give us, what's required, it's over. So that's all I have to say about that.
Does Josh do that thing?
Yes, he does. Yeah, we he's in a league with me, but then also we have a team that we're sharing too. So that's what he's referring to.
He also says we should have traded Volpe when we had the chance.
Yeah, obviously he definitely had a lot of value. But at this point, we're just hoping that he turns it around because you're not going to try to get rid of him right now, But it's tough. It's tough, and Lombard is ready. That's the thing.
We also got Ernesto saying, I'm counting down to the tailgate, broski. I even cleaned the car already, LMAO. What tail is that?
Me and Tony going to the Mets tailgate June 12th. And Michael.
That's
Michael as well,
embarrassing,
which
Mike.
will be great. But yeah, actually it starts.
It was embarrassing. You weren't even invited.
It's an open invitation to the TCA. Are you kidding? But it's gonna start actually at Publicans. And actually, yeah, because I was because Hot Take Johnny is getting the tickets soon. So if you're definitely you're not gonna go to the game?
I don't know. I thought.
Oh no, I'm going. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So but you would go?
I'd go to the game if you were.
Okay, yeah, because I gotta let him know about the tickets soon. So I think by next week. But if you're in, I'll let him know. Thank you, Renee. Always good in a pinch. And I think we were left off comment wise, Michael, at the Renee hello LMAO.
Yes, Renee LMAO hello. That killed me. We need that on a soundboard. He's not going to get Torres treatment. Watch. Chances on, chances till free agency. Me and Theophil will be speaking about WWE. You know it, baby. Wait, what? Michael too?
Hey, I'm just finding out about this too. And I think the thing is, and Josh knows this, Michael has the same thought process as me. The Mets thing is tough, and we shouldn't even have said the name today. But if it was Yankee game, it would make it so much better. But the thing that saves it, and Michael knows this, the TCA element, seeing everybody, so we can let it go for a day.
I do have some questions though. Maybe Josh could give me some answers. He could text me on the side, just because I want to film some stuff, but I know you can't bring the cameras to the game, so I at least want to capture us all hanging out before, and then
because I wonder actually what the deal. So I'm trying to think. So
you can't bring cameras into the stadium.
Okay. So
but like from there, I'm totally cool with using phones and all that stuff. But we might as well have some like the actual gear before. Are we taking a train from Long Island? Because
that's what we did last year.
Are people? So we're driving to Long Island, or what are we doing?
I mean, we could.
I'm down to do the ferry thing with the car on it. I'm down to pay for that.
I mean, it's not even that far to just drive. I think from Stanford, it's like 40 minutes or something.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so typically we took a train because obviously, like me, it's
I mean, but I have DD.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
I'll
if you
be
want to
DD.
drive, that's fine.
No, I have no problem.
Me and Tony not using shape to drive it. One of these things.
And the tailgate's at the stadium, brother?
Yes. So Publicans, Rick and Dave live at 6:00 at Publicans. They're going 6 to 10, and then tailgate right after.
Where's the tailgate?
At City Fields.
Okay. Yeah, Josh, are you gonna have a car at City Field? Or what are you doing?
I'm trying. No. He's gonna take the train.
Okay.
He's definitely gonna take the train. Yeah.
Okay.
So and then Ernie says if my car isn't full, I have room from Publicans.
Ernie, we'll tag team. We're tag team the good looking guys. Okay.
He says, "Am I going to Republican themed bar? Good Lord." Come on, Ernie.
Why is he a Joe Biden fan?
I haven't really talked about them, but you know me, I don't usually like to talk about that stuff.
Well, this is sports. This is a political podcast for sure.
Yeah, we're not gonna be talking about that on
Sleepy Joe.
Day. That is for sure. But yeah, as I was, kind of Josh pieces. Here we go with the crying. But yeah, Yankees good to salvage that win. Go home. Tomorrow will be Carrasco. I think it's against Jose Barrios. I'm Raul, though. I'll get to see with Matt on Saturday.
You guys are going?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so pumped. The first time seeing Max Fried start. So that's going to be great. Obviously, he's, looking like a favorite for the Cy Young so far this year. But Friday will be Carrasco Barrios, and then we'll get to see Fried versus Kevin Gausman. So it should be a great, pitching matchup. And it's just one of those things. Let's at least win 2 out of 3. Chance to sweep. And then Ernie, saying looks like it's missing the re, and he says like open to the public. Josh B. So that's kind of funny. But anyhow, I think what would be good, Michael, if you could pull up the immaculate grid while we have Ernie before the big sale. I think he still has a couple minutes. And then, just funny. They're going back and forth. Like Michael Butka would go back and forth with Ernie, honestly.
It's in Long Island. Sounds sus. Wow.
Not the time.
All righty. So we're adding it to the stage. There we go. There you are.
There we go. Okay. So top left, Michael. So first row, top left, Ivan Rodriguez, one of your childhood favorites.
Ivan Rodriguez. Yvonne.
Yeah.
Is it Avon?
Ivan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely. Pudge. Yeah, he is. Great catcher.
What do we got for a percentage?
6.
All right, not bad. And then let's see. So for bottom left, Edwin Jackson.
LA, Washington.
Yes.
Edwin Jackson. 1%.
Love it. And then middle left, Trey Turner.
Is it like a Y?
TREA.
EA. Wow. His parents are trying to be fancy. 9%.
We'll still take it. We'll still take it. Let's see. So less than 3 ERA season. So for middle, Brad Lidge.
Brad Lidge. 5%.
Okay. Middle bottom, Kenley Jansen.
Kenley.
Jansen.
There we go. Just he's playing still. 5%.
Okay. And then let's see. So sub 3 Detroit. I'm trying to think other than Skubal and Verlander. I'm trying to think closer for Detroit. Might have to come back to that one. But let's see here. So if you want to do bottom right and do Sandy Koufax.
20.
Ah,
I had a feeling.
yeah, I mean legend. And then let's see. So for Detroit with the 20-win season, I'm trying not to get some high numbers here. Ernie, like we almost might need to patch him in.
Ernie?
I wonder if he already like has one on the call. I'm gonna give it a try. He says Schoolboy Row.
He's more than welcome to call the number at the bottom.
Yeah, Vernie, if you want to call, but he says Schoolboy Row for Detroit 20 wins. So top right.
Schoolboy. That's a crazy name.
Yeah.
0.7%.
That is why Ernie is a legend. But Ernie, final two. Because I know Holiday did it for Philly, but I feel like it's like 30%. Just trying to think other 20. I don't think Cole Hamels won 20. Steve Carlton. Did Steve Carlton win 20 games? And then I don't know why I'm struggling with Detroit closers having, good seasons. Cliff Lee, did he win 20 though with Philly? For sure, Josh? Do we need the Swami to verify? Because I know I could go Holiday if I need to. And I'm just trying to think of other guys. Detroit, I know sub 3, I could go Justin Verlander, or Skubal, but I feel like the percentage is going to be through the roof. I don't know if do we try to patch Ernie in?
Ernie, just call in.
Ernie! He'll start calling Tony's number or Michael Bucka from the Late Night Contact.
Oh, man. I wonder if they video chat each other.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. No Cliff Lee. I kind of thought so. Chris Short. Okay, so middle right. Chris Short. And he says, and I'm out. Ernie,
3%.
Go make the sale. All right, so it's just, do I go Verlander? I don't know if Scherzer probably did it. Go top middle Max Scherzer.
All right. You got it.
What was the percentage?
It was 7%.
And the grid score 56. Okay. Not bad. Appreciate the help from the fellas as always. But and then really other than that, baseball wise, kind of a light day. Both for the locals off today. Just taking a look here. I'm not gonna do the picks with me and Tony, but if I had to just do, I guess if I had to give my 3, these won't count for anything, but just taking a look at this here. The Red Sox lost yesterday to the Mariners. Crochet's been on fire, but that kind of, going away game here. I kind of like the value here with Seattle plus 150. Brian Wu, is no slouch. But I would say, it would be, I like the Mariners to win this one. So I like the value there, plus 150, under the 8.5. I know usually high scoring at Fenway. But I would say Mariners in the under there, 4-2. So that would be my first one. And then I've been hammering this, the Giants over the Brewers. I just think the Giants the Giants are a step above the Brewers. Don't like what the Brewers have been doing. Raup on the hill. That was actually somebody that Josh B and I were given a trade offer in for fantasy for. He's not great, but I think he's good enough here against the Brewers. I think that's another under. So I would say Giants 5-1 there. And then, there's a double header between the Rockies and the Royals. Definitely, I'll go with the first game. I mean, Cole Reagans, solid pitcher, so I'm in the playoffs against the Yankees. German Marquez, I can't believe he's still pitching for the Rockies, 8.27 ERA. I think that's a under game. I think a shutout game. I think the Royals win 6-0. So all unders, Royals in the under there. So those would be my 3 picks for the day. So that's really it for baseball. Looking forward to the Yankees over the weekend, going to the game Saturday. But let's go to the world of the National Basketball Association.
The Bulls go! LeBron James at the buzzer!
All right. So NBA playoffs moving along. We had 3 games, last night. I have to say what really stood out to me, and I don't know if you caught any of this one, Michael, but was the way that the Rockets, bounced back, dominated
Jimmy did
the
get
Warriors. Hurt. Jimmy did get hurt?
Yeah.
Okay. So
that's why.
That's the whole thing there.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, Jalen Green, 38.
I know.
And what do we have, like an update on the injury there?
It was something pelvic, I think. It looked pretty bad.
That doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't.
By the way, your buddy, Michael Buckus, says, let's go NBA talk. Let's hear it. So
yeah,
Michael,
he didn't come in. MRI today.
Any optimism in the air? Because I feel like if he's injured, I mean, maybe they might not win another game in the series.
Pelvis contusion.
Pelvic contusion. Jeez. Okay. So I'm sure they're going to wait there. But yeah, I thought the Warriors would go up 2-0, but obviously Butler changes that whole team. The Cavs, end up winning by 9 against the Heat, but, had a big halftime lead of 17 and kind of just coasted the rest of the way there. I think that's going to be a sweep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing that the Heat even made the playoffs.
I know.
But Donovan Mitchell, great game there, 36-6. And then, Celtics go up 2-0.
Without Tatum.
Yeah, without Tatum. Michael. Tatum. Missing the first playoff game of his career. So, and then I saw Paolo Banchero there with a huge game for the Magic. I mean, you think it's a situation where that team, come next season, they're going to be, big time?
I mean, he was out like 30-plus games this season with that shoulder thing. So the Magic are definitely going to be a team. And then they got Franz Wagner.
Franz Wagner, I think, is one of the most underrated players in the league.
So, they got 2 6-something guys over there. Like, that's just like Tatum and Brown, but just younger.
And it's crazy, the future that these guys have. Banchero's only 22 years old.
Yeah.
And then I think Franz Wagner is the same. You're 23 years old. So those guys are going to be around for a while.
Yep.
So I think they're going to be a force. It just, unfortunately, you're playing the Celtics. It's not going to be this year, but it'll be interesting.
But it's a good lesson for them.
Yeah. And it almost, what it almost reminds me of? Like lesser, definitely. I think they need to definitely add some more players, but it reminds me of like OKC. like the start of it. You know, I think you add another
Yep.
player or two, then they're going to be legit.
Yeah, I
that's
agree.
for sure. So those were the 3 games last night. We have another 3 tonight.
Yep.
Obviously, locally, everybody's focused on this Knicks Pistons game. 7:00 on TNT. The Knicks slight favorites here at 1.5. Cade went off last game.
Yep.
But what do you think about this game in particular? I mean, you think it's going to be kind of anyone's game down to the last shot type of deal?
Yeah,
or?
I think so. But I don't know. I've been calling it. I just think the Pistons are going to pull this out, this series. And then it's going to be a lot of questions in New York in terms of coaching and, what they do in the off season, which, Josh doesn't want to hear it. But I think that's what's going to happen.
But do you think that they're going to fire Thibodeau?
I mean, I know Buckton doesn't want to hear it, but that would be the game plan, right? I mean,
and is it
not
Hurley or
this year.
bust?
Huh?
Like otherwise they don't make the move? Or it's saying it's not going to be Hurley. So basically they're not firing Thibodeau is what you're saying.
Maybe give him one more year they might. And then if it happens again where it's like a first or second round out, I mean, definitely then like 100%.
And you've watched more of this than me, but what's the reason why, like defensively, like it's just not getting done? I mean, is it effort? Are the guys just shot? Like what's the deal?
I guess it's more like, so they're just like super top heavy. They don't have a deep bench. And I don't know, dude, like Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges suck. So like everybody wants to, itch their jocks, but they suck.
Well, I know
offensively,
Bridges,
they're playing. You're playing 3-on-5 basically.
I mean, so I guess I haven't really watched, but I thought, Hart. I mean, is he worn down? Because I know he had some big games earlier in the year, triple doubles, this and that. But you're saying like you're seeing him miss a lot of like easy shots.
I mean, dude, like just like Hart is not an offensive threat. All right, so it's like he shot too in terms of like the other game. I was telling Tony this. It's so funny. I was just ragging on Tony. And I even brought it up today because I saw a play develop in the defensive end for the Knicks where like I just knew there was going to be, because the other way it was like 3-on-2. And it was just like, oh, Jaylen Brown did a no-look pass, whatever. And Tony was like, whoa. And I was like, what do you mean, whoa? Like, that was so obviously going to happen. And like,
I wasn't sure. You know how you never know with him if that was like the sarcastic.
No, he was genuinely like,
okay.
Oh my God. But I just like, so there was a play where Mitch Robinson gets it in the post and he like fires a pass to the corner, like super hard, but because he thought Hart was in the corner.
Right.
But Hart's cutting to the basket. He caught the ball, but like he brought his defender over. It's crowded in there. There's no offensive play to be developed now there. And it was like a rush shot, miss, bucket on the other end. And it's just like a lot of that stuff. And Mikal needs to stop dancing after every shot. Like, you're trash. Just play the game. And defensively, like, he can't guard Cade Cunningham.
Yeah.
Like, so what's your value? Like, I thought you're supposed to be with on Anunoby, like the lockdown guy at least. And like, you're not doing that. I have a call coming in, but I'm not sure if it's,
let's see.
I think it's like a scam thing.
Might as well try it just in case. And then the Tony hang up the realtor.
Hello?
Tight.
Hello?
You loot.
Yep. Yeah, so dude, like if you're playing 3-on-5 on offense, and people are gonna argue, oh, but Bridges was like, he had like 20-something points. All right, but like he missed the shots that mattered. Again. Hold on a
Maybe
second.
it's Matthew Ryan.
Hello? Like, what the fuck?
It's probably one of those things where they try to get you saying a certain word for fraud, that's out there.
Yeah, these rats.
Yeah, so that's probably what it is.
Oh.
I met you at the art showing last week.
Oh, okay. I'm actually doing a live sports show right now. Can I call you back?
Oh, I didn't know you were live. Yeah, you should have picked up the phone.
Well, people call the show in. They call in for the show.
Oh, they call your cell phone number. Okay, I'm so sorry.
No worries. I'll give you a call back.
All right, very good. Talk to you later.
Bye.
That was kind of funny.
That is funny.
But
You shouldn't pick up the phone. It's like,
well,
what do you mean?
You shouldn't call. Michael Bucket though saying if Butler is out, that's problems for the Warriors. Tatum equals stock boy at Walmart. This is I hate spam calls. Watch out for those. Yeah, we thought it was.
Yeah,
Michael,
we
we
thought
it was, but it wasn't.
Met me at the art show last week. What art show was I at? I don't know, man. Like my every day is like, what the hell is going on? But yeah, dude, can you see my frustration now?
Yeah.
So it's like, and I knew this was going to be a thing this year, and I knew the Knicks would win 50 games in the regular season. I knew people would be like, oh my God, this team, blah, blah. But like, you get a matchup problem. Like, Detroit's young also. All right. So that's sad that like they're already technically, in my eyes, better than the Knicks.
Right.
Like, there's 9 players that made their
Wait, how many?
9, dude, that made their playoff debut. Last like this series.
Yeah.
So the first game they lost, barely, okay, got comfortable, won the second, and now it's like you got a bunch of young guys that you know how it is, like where they don't understand the moment type of thing, so they're just like having a good time.
Yeah.
And on top of that, Cade Cunningham, that other Thompson twin, you know how he has his brother in Houston.
Yes.
And the center, all rookie deals.
Yeah, I mean that's
And the Knicks are all overpaid, and gave up a bunch of draft picks and all. You know what I mean for this team. So it's like, what are we doing? How is this like? How can you be excited? You know, in my opinion, like you're like, yeah, this is great. You know, we've made the playoffs the last couple, but it's like, you know how it is, dude. You're a Yankee fan. You don't play to win to make the playoffs. You play to win a championship.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like.
Well, and it's crazy too because they were holding on to those draft picks for so long because they were scarred from the old Eddie Curry days and stuff of trading draft picks. And then you give them up, but you give them up for Bridges. And I understand like he did look good with the Nets, but I think sometimes like you kind of get trapped with stuff because like someone is productive on a team that's not good. Then once they're on a good team with a lot of other options, they kind of get lost.
Pressure, like
Yeah.
you know, like it's just like I don't know. And Karl Anthony Towns, you know, I forgot who's talking about it, but like, you know, he's just not demanding touches and you know whether he's going to convert. Oh, Melo was talking about it actually, on his podcast. You know, if you're going to be the guy, like be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
So there's all these factors. I love Jalen. He's a warrior.
Yeah.
But like Cade Cunningham's the best player in this series.
Yeah.
And if you have the best player in the series and your team plays really good defense and everyone's bought in, I mean, that's kind of a scary formula to be going against if you're the Knicks, in my opinion. And it's like, I know they're the 6th seed and all that stuff. It's like, I don't know. And now you're going back to Detroit, tied 1-1. It's like, yeah, they just have to win one there, but like that's not what you wanted. You wanted to be up 2-0, then maybe split there. So then you're 3-1 coming back to New York, and then you finish the job. But now, you know, best case scenario, it'll be 2-2 coming back to New York. And, you know, let's say hypothetically they do win this series, dude. Like you're beat. Like you're going 6-7 games with Detroit, and then you're gonna have to face who is it? The Celtics? Is it the Celtics they go against? Yeah.
Yeah.
So like you're shot.
Yeah.
It's over then.
Yeah. I mean, and people were kind of, you know, there was rumblings about this going into the series. I still thought, you know, 5 or 6 game series, but I mean, after what we've seen, I mean, it seems like it could potentially go the distance.
And they were missing that dude, the like he's
Duran?
No, he the other big man that like just fights everybody.
Stewart.
He didn't play last game, and like he's a big part of their team on both ends, you know, coming off the bench, and they still got it done without him.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, you know, for them to have a chance, I mean, they're really just going to have to step up defensively, and they're going to need more than 10 points from Towns like they got last game. So,
like, come on.
Going to be interesting. And I think this is going to be a big, like, swing game in the series. So, I could see why, you know, they might be in trouble here. I'm going to say, though, they bounce back in a tight one. If I had to guess,
Jalen Brunson game winner.
Jalen Brunson game winner, and I think kind of a 90s style, almost similar to what we saw at the Lakers last time out. And I think they win like 102-99.
Yeah.
That would be my guess. So I would say Knicks in the under on that one. And then Thunder Grizzlies.
Thunder
obviously. Sweep. Obviously, no gentlemen's.
No.
And
Clippers Nuggets is interesting.
It is.
Like,
it is.
I don't understand, how it's tough with Kawhi because, over the years with all the stuff that he's done, he's, I don't know if it's been actually he's just injured or whatever the case may be, not playing all that time. But I'll tell you right now, he is at the level that he was at with Toronto and that he was at with the Spurs. And that's a scary thing. And James Harden, I mean, none of us could have guessed, like anybody, that he was going to have this kind of, that this was going to be the year. And then Zubac, dude, like you saw his stats. Like you couldn't believe it last time we talked about it, that he's having a career year. It's like, dude, that team's scary. And Norman Powell, I know he like recently has been struggling, but like he did end the game last game, hitting big shots in clutch moments. And I don't know, man. Like the Nuggets are in trouble, I think, and I really do believe the Clippers are going to pull it out. And I could see an LA Western Conference Finals, to be honest. And I know people are saying, "Oh, what about the Thunder?" I do think it would be like a tough series, but I can't go against Kawhi if he's playing like this because we've seen him do it before. So I mean, dude, I don't know. They're an interesting team that, people probably just thought, kind of like, oh, they're having a good regular season, but they're gonna get, pounced in the playoffs or whatever. And it's like, no one saw Kawhi and James Harden being, elite again.
Yeah.
So I mean, when they were at the top of their game, I mean, they were the top 2-3 best at their position. So, I mean, I don't know.
It's going to be interesting.
It will be interesting, and I'm looking forward to it. I really am.
Yeah, no, and I tend to agree with you, just because, especially what happened with the Nuggets, the coach. I mean, it just doesn't seem
fucked up.
Yeah, it's all messed up. So they're going to have some stuff to sort out. So yeah, I think the Clippers will win tonight and win the series in 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. So those are the 3 games tonight.
I am looking forward to the Lakers, Wolves tomorrow too. To be honest, because.
Big game.
Yeah, it is a huge game. I don't know. That last game by the Lakers kind of just it almost seemed like they just were like, we're better.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we figured it out and we're a better team. And anytime you have Luka locked in, I don't know. And Reeves, dude, he's so underrated. It's ridiculous.
He is. Yeah.
He's definitely the best third option in the whole NBA. Like
definitely. He
could be your second option. Easily on another team. So
and then Michael Butka says, never thought we would Luka is my main focus right now. Harley can wait a little bit. Never thought we would trade for Luka. Cat needs to freaking step it up. Hart and Bridges need to wake up. Knicks win 102-100. Reddick's timeout was legendary. Reddick.
Yeah, did you see that?
No, actually.
He was like like he was typed. He was cursing them out. What the F are you guys doing? Blah, 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 blah.
Well, that's how the press conference started when he got introduced.
Yeah.
So he's carrying that over.
I like him, dude.
I do. I always really liked him as a player.
Yeah, me too. Because he was one of those guys when he came in, highly touted, obviously.
He's a mini Hurley.
Yep. But he obviously I don't know. I think he kind of got like effed. Because he could have been like a Steph Curry type, but that didn't happen. But what he didn't do is, pout and eventually leave the league. He just transformed into a two-way player.
Yeah.
Like 3-and-D.
No, good. It seemed like a bust, and then he was a respectable player. Very important on those Clippers teams.
Yeah, huge.
So yeah, it's interesting for sure. So we'll see what happens. Some interesting games tonight. And we'll mention that tomorrow. He says my Luka purple jersey just came in, so we know he's relevant for that. But before we wrap up, let's just take a quick trip to the world of the National Hockey League.
Speed, here he comes. McDavid shoots, top shelf, he scores! Captain with the overtime winner. That's the middle. Great hit, Cameron. It's a world-class hit right here. Tomsky steps stepping. Rink Washington made the full split save.
Are you kidding me?
Turn, side of the net, between the legs, and they score! Filthy! David Pasternak, the silver trophy to the Golden Knights.
Washington, dude.
All right, Washington. So Ovechkin, trying to add a second title to his resume.
I think he's gonna.
It does seem like that is definitely possible. It'd be interesting to see what their second round matchup looks like. But it seems like
Carolina,
they have
probably.
this series in hand, and they play Carolina. I mean, I would expect them to win. Carolina doesn't have a good history in the second round.
So annoying though. I don't know how you feel about it, but I just it's like to me, I'm like, dang, that could be the Whalers.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, it would be a completely different feel, and then we wouldn't have to deal with.
We'd be going to those games.
Yeah, and we wouldn't have to deal with the monogamy of the New York Rangers.
Yeah.
Who give Chris Drury a contract extension yesterday.
I thought of you.
I was talking with JD about that yesterday, or commenting about it, but I was saying because JT Miller, the Rangers forward, is trying to qualify for the U.S. Open. So I was asking him, I'm like, oh, who do you think's better at what they do? JT Miller on the golf course or Drury at the GM? And then he said, of course, or Tommy said JT Miller on the golf course. So
Tommy.
That was kind of embarrassing. But regardless, you mentioned the Capitals 3-1 over the Canadiens. So they take a commanding 2-0 lead here. Head to Montreal, looking to really put it away in Game 3. I think this is going to end up being a sweep. I mean, we'll see what happens. But Logan Thompson playing, some great hockey as their goaltender. Dylan Strome scoring in this one for the Capitals, and they come off a game where Ovechkin, the previous game, has 2 goals. In this one, they actually don't get anything from him, and they didn't need it because Connor McMichael had 2 goals, Strome with the other one, and then they play good defense and win. So that's been the theme of Washington all season, where it's not just about Ovechkin. They have a bunch of the other players stepping up. So great win there. Dallas wins their 4th straight playoff game in Colorado. So they played in the first round last year, beat the Avalanche. So didn't see this one coming. Tyler Seguin, the game winner there. So this was the defensive hockey game, but the Stars go up 2-1. So now Dallas, has a chance to, take another game in Colorado and then go back home to win this series, which is kind of crazy. I mean, I think the Avalanche will bounce back, but just was surprised at the weak performance here. It just seems like the Stars, for whatever reason, have Colorado's number, and I've kind of doubted them the last couple of years. Maybe it's time to take them seriously. And speaking of taking them seriously, I cannot believe the Oilers are down 6-2. I mean, we know the Kings' best home record in the league this season, but getting torched. 6-2, they beat the Oilers. Andre Kemp with 2 goals and 2 assists. Kopitar with a goal and 3 assists, and Kuzmenko a goal and assist. So Tony's Kings getting the job done. So really putting those Oilers backs against the wall. I think things will change a bit when they go back to Edmonton. Kings have struggled on the road this season, but nevertheless, it's a surprise to see them win in such dominant fashion. But like I said, I fully expect them to bounce back, but it's getting interesting. That's for sure. And speaking of interesting, the Panthers will lead off the 4-pack we have tonight, playing the Tampa Bay Lightning, dominating that first game 6-2. So it'll be interesting to see Tampa, who was great at home, 29-8-4, if they bounce back against Florida today. I think they will, but we know Florida's tough. Tampa, the slight favorite at -125. I think they will definitely hold Florida at bay a little more offensively. Despite winning 47 games this year, we saw Florida kind of disappear offensively despite all that firepower. Now they have Marchand, but I think I could see Vasilevsky turning back the clock, like a 39-40 performance, maybe a 3-1 Lightning victory there to even up the series at 1. So I would say Tampa and the under there. 7 o'clock, Senators and the Maple Leafs. Maple Leafs looking to go up 3-0. We're solid on the road this year, 25-13-3. I think they get it done. I think this Maple Leafs team, I know they've lost a lot in the first round, but they are loaded. All the goal scorers that they have on this team, I think they will overwhelm Ottawa. I think this is an over game, and I think they'll win. Let's call it 5-3 to go up 3-0 there. So that would be the Maple Leafs in the over. The Golden Knights shocked at home last time out. going up against Minnesota here, who actually had more road win than home wins this year. I think this is a Vegas bounce back spot. And I know Wild have been sneaky good this year, but I think after really getting dominated last time out, I think the Knights will bounce back here. Maybe Jack Eichel, will have 3 points. I could see him having 2 goals and an assist here. So I think a tight one, but I think they win 4-2, maybe 4-3, 4-2 the whole way, and then an empty netter at the end for the 2-goal difference there, covering the 1.5. So that would be the Knights and the under. And then Jets Blues, was close last time out. Blues going home. Sure, the fans will be riled, but I think Hellebuck has something to say about that road shutout. I think a 3-0 game. Jets in the under. That's the last game of the night, 9:30 on ESPN2. So 4 games of hockey. So really a loaded night other than Major League Baseball tonight, between the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs, the NFL draft. That's going to be interesting. And I just really hope, tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the Jets' new tight end and Tyler Warren. And I'll give Kevdu a pass here. He's mentioning the forbidden 4-letter word that we weren't talking about today. But good to have Kevdu with us.
Yes.
Haven't talked to him in a while.
We love Kevdu. We
do. And then Michael Buck also added JJ coaching the Lakers fits perfectly. Sports equal like life, nothing but sports. So there we go, Michael. So he's kind of shifted because he was big on Disney, big on the politics, but it seems like he's back to his teams has to be good though. That's the thing. When his teams are good, then he's honed in. But then he gets distracted if there's some struggles, and he's talking announcers and Iron Eagle. So you never know what you're gonna get with Michael Bucket. But that's why we love him, right? And then other than that, the only other thing I wanted to mention here, an update from Avondale, Louisiana. Jason Hadley and Jonathan Bird, a 2-shot lead right now, 6 under through 8, 2 shots clear of a 2-way tie at second between Cam Davis and Evan Svensson and Alex Smalley and Joseph Brantlett. And we do have Rory and Lowry on the course. They are 3 under through 4, starting on the back 9. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in their title defense. But very early on here, Van Ruin and Bezenhout also 3 under through 5, starting on the back as well. So we'll talk about this, more tomorrow, see who's on top of the leaderboard. And Pavone and Perez have recovered from that early bogey. They're 1 under through 6. But a lot of golf yet to be played. I think there were 66 twosomes in this event. So kind of interesting, something different, something that, we're not used to. And then Michael Bucket says, I do love Disney, but sports is always number one. Lakers basketball, baby. So really excited for the Lake show. That's for sure. But have to say today, absolutely just stormed by. Great show. Great having Michael back in the mix here.
Yes, sir.
And we really appreciate all of you who tuned in and continue to comment, like, and subscribe. All of the archives on the YouTube page, Tony, Mago, Renee, and Jay, and costume the merch at DowntimeTV.com. We want everybody to enjoy the day, enjoy the games, and we will see you mañana.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do.